Good morning, Huskies. Welcome back from the weekend, and it's time for the next Bailey's Weekly Student Update for Monday, January 26, 2015. First of all, coming up this week, on Tuesday, we'll be celebrating the regular honor roll recognition. That'll take place in the West Gym during read and feed. Again, that's for the A-B honor roll. Also, on Wednesday is an early release day, so we'll be dismissing at 2:06, so we'll be doing that early. Friday is our distinguished honor roll recognition time. That'll be in the cafeteria during read and feed. And then also during read and feed on Friday, 7th graders will clean out their lockers. Now, if you were on the All-A honor roll, the distinguished honor roll on Friday, being recognized, simply clean out your locker after that time is over. A couple health tips. First of all, be sure to wear your coat to school. I see several people get out of cars in the morning who are not wearing a coat, and I'm out there all morning, so I definitely know how cold it is, and you need to make sure you're staying warm and taking care of yourself. And also, regularly wash your hands with soap. So be sure to count to 20, scrub your hands really well, and use paper towel or your elbow to turn off the faucet. Don't go back and touch it with your hands after you've just cleaned them off. And so there's a real nasty flu going around throughout the country, really throughout the Midwest and throughout the state. And just really want to make sure everyone is able to take care of yourselves and looking out for yourself. Computer tip, charge your device at home. The battery wands will no longer work, so we will not be handing out any wands for you to carry around during the day. So the thing I do is I have my charger at home, I plug it in whenever I go to bed, and then it's ready when I wake up in the morning. So make sure you get into a routine and charge at home. We will not have wands anymore to hand out. And you need to make this is a really important time of year to make sure things are charged. Also, get help. If your laptop isn't working properly, get help soon. iStep testing is coming up at the beginning of March, and so you need to get it fixed before it's too late because you'll need it for iStep. If someone is picking on you or bullying you, what are you supposed to do? Well, the first thing you need to do is report the situation to an adult, and the best thing to do is go to the guidance office and you can fill out a little form that reports what is taking place. And our goal is that Mrs. Clark can help resolve whatever issues are going on. But if it crosses into discipline and actual bullying, then Mr. Kiger or Mr. Bailey will get involved at that time. We can help before it gets worse, and don't try to handle it on your own. Coming to us is not being a snitch. It's trying to protect the people involved and just simply trying to make a difference. And so we can do that. We can help you navigate kind of the confusing times of being picked on or being bullied. And we want to help avoid that at all possible. Getting to know Mr. Bailey real quickly. My favorite TV show, and this, I even watch this more than I would watch the Colts or a football game or anything like that, is Downton Abbey. I just really enjoy this show. It's on Sunday nights, and the seasons come on during January and February of each year. The new seasons come out, and right now we are in season 5, and it's just a great show, very funny, but in a dramatic, just serious way, and just really enjoy it. So there's a lot of drama, and the characters are just outstanding. So if you wonder what I watch sometimes on Sunday nights, that's what I watch. So the thought for the day. One of the things I wanted to do, last Monday, I know that several teachers talked about Martin Luther King Jr. and the difference that he made in America, especially getting the civil rights movement going and really solidifying that and creating change and equality for all men and women of our country. And so one thing I noticed is that not everyone did. So I wanted to make sure that all of us together took time to really reflect on Martin Luther King and what his life meant for all of us and how we can live that out today. So the time is always right to do what is right, and even though I didn't do this last Monday, I think it's still important for us to do it right now. So our weekly focus will be just thinking about these words I'm going to read, and this is a little bit longer than normal, but I do want us just kind of listen and reflect on this excerpt from The Meaning of the King Holiday, which was written by Coretta Scott King, who was Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife and his widow after he died. And this was taken from the kingcenter.org. And one thing to keep in mind is that Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't just for a certain group of Americans. It wasn't just for Black Americans or just the poor in America. His message really resonated across the world and even created movements in India and Africa. And so his ideas transcend race and they connect with people of all backgrounds, and we all can take and listen to what he had to say. And again, these are words from Coretta Scott King, who was his widow. On the King holiday, young people learn about the power of unconditional love, even for one's adversaries or enemies, as a way to fight injustice and diffuse violent disputes. It is a time to show them the power of forgiveness and the healing process at the interpersonal as well as the international levels. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is not only for celebration and remembrance, education and tribute, but above all, a day of service. All across America on the holiday, his followers performed service in hospitals and shelters and prisons and wherever people need some help. It is a day of volunteering to feed the hungry, rehabilitate housing, tutoring those who can't read, mentoring at-risk youngsters, consoling the brokenhearted, and 1,000 other projects for building the beloved community of his dream. Dr. King once said that we all have to decide whether we will walk in the light of creative altruism or the darkness of destructive selfishness. Life's most persistent and nagging question, he said, is what are you doing for others? He would quote Mark 9:35, the scripture in which Jesus of Nazareth tells James and John, "Whosoever will be great among you shall be your servant, and whosoever among you will be the first shall be the servant of all." And when Martin talked about the end of his mortal life in one of his last sermons on February 4th, 1968, in the pulpit of Ebenezer Baptist Church, even then he lifted up the value of service as the hallmark of a full life. Quote, "I'd like somebody to mention on that day Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others." He said, "I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to love and serve humanity." End quote. We call you to commemorate this holiday by making your personal commitment to serve humanity with the vibrant spirit of unconditional love that was his greatest strength and which empowered all of the great victories of his leadership. And with our hearts open to this spirit of unconditional love, we can indeed achieve the beloved community of Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. So, like I said, while last week is when we celebrated and reflected upon Reverend King's legacy, it is relevant to all of us each day, each week, throughout the year. So, as you go through this week, go make great things happen, serve others, and see what kind of amazing good you can do. Take care and have a great week. Go Huskies.